Let's just be clear about something. The President of the United States is actively engaging in a cover up. He's not only covering for Epstein, but also himself, his buddies, and anybody else that was associated with Jeffrey Epstein. And he's doing so through not only not releasing the Epstein files, but also shady backdoor deals, which appeared to be struck with people like Ghislaine Maxwell. We just learned in a new ABC News report that Ghislaine Maxwell told the Department of Justice that Trump never did anything concerning around her. These are Ghislaine Maxwell's words, according to ABC News. Now, I want to break this story down and talk about how obviously there's something more going on here. Before I do so, I want to show you this clip where Donald Trump earlier today was asked by CNN's Caitlin Collins if he personally approved Ghislaine Maxwell being moved to a low-level security camp in Texas from her high-level security prison in Florida. And in this answer, he essentially admits to engaging in this cover-up. Just take a look.
One, were you aware of and did you personally approve the prison transfer for Ghislaine Maxwell that your Justice Department
I didn't know about it at all. No, I read about it just like you did.
And do you believe that she is
It's not a very uncommon thing.
Do you believe that she's credible to be listening to? Your Deputy Attorney General sat down with her recently.
Well, let me tell you, he's a very talented man. His name is Todd Blanche. He's a very legitimate person, very high. I just a very highly thought of person, respected by everybody. And I didn't talk to him about it, but I will tell you that whatever he asked would be totally appropriate, and it's not an uncommon thing to do that. And I think he probably wants to make sure that, people that should not be involved or aren't involved are not hurt by something that would be very, very unfortunate, very unfair to a lot of people. But I will say this, Todd Blanche is one of the most highly respected people you'll ever meet. So I know this. I didn't discuss it with him, but anything he talked about with her or the fact that he did that, not unusual, number one, and most importantly is something that would be totally above board.
Does anybody actually believe this crap? I mean, this guy is lying through his teeth right now. There's so much wrong. I almost guarantee that Donald Trump knew that Ghislaine Maxwell was being moved to a lower level security prison. And it appears that that might be part of this little deal that they've struck behind the scenes. And that's not common. He's trying to say, oh, it's a very common thing to do. No, it's not. Her sex offender status had to be waived. Somebody on the inside had to waive that for her to be moved from her prison in Florida to her prison in Texas, the camp that she's now at. So him trying to label that as common and something that just happens is such BS, and he knows it. And then essentially later, he announces, or admits, I should say, that he's engaging in this cover-up. He's like, yeah, I just don't want to release these files because I don't want anybody to get hurt that shouldn't be hurt. He is talking about himself. Every accusation with Donald Trump is a confession. It's all projection. So when Donald Trump is up here saying, I don't want people to get hurt, I don't want people drawn into this situation that don't deserve to be drawn in. He's referencing himself, as seen by his reluctance to release the files, as seen by the FBI redacting his name specifically from the Epstein files when they went through over 100,000 documents. He is talking about himself. Now, I want to get into this cover-up and this deal that appears to have been struck by Ghislaine Maxwell and Donald Trump. So let's talk about this ABC News article. Ghislaine Maxwell told the Department of Justice that Trump never did anything concerning around her, according to some sources. During her 9 hours speaking with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche last month, Ghislaine Maxwell said nothing during that interview that would be harmful to Donald Trump, telling Blanche that Trump had never done anything in her presence that would have caused concern, according to sources familiar with what Maxwell said. The Trump administration, meanwhile, is considering publicly releasing the transcripts from the interview, multiple sources with internal discussions told ABC. Maxwell's meeting with Blanche took place for 9 hours. Over 2 days. There's also an audio recording of the interview, the sources said, but it's not clear whether the administration plans to release the audio to accompany any public release of the transcript. The public release of the transcripts could come as soon as this week, the sources said. Maxwell, of course, an associate of Epstein, was convicted of sex trafficking and other charges and sentenced to 20 years in prison in 2022, which she was serving at federal prison in Tallahassee until her recent move to a more relaxed federal prison camp in Texas. And this is central to the conversation we're having right now. After Maxwell sat down with Todd Blanche and, according to reports, said that Donald Trump never did anything concerning around her. Then, interestingly enough, after that, she got moved to this federal prison camp in Texas. So she says Trump is not implicated. He did nothing wrong. And then she gets a perk. And then she gets to go to this nice prison where they teach yoga classes, apparently. And the people at the prison are able to go outside from the hours of 6 a.m. to 9 p.m., which is incredibly lenient. It's a prison for normally people who are non-violent offenders. But Ghislaine Maxwell, a very violent offender, somebody who did awful things to vulnerable people and vulnerable children, she gets her sex offender status waived and then moved to this federal prison camp. And I want to show you the reactions from some people online. Mueller, she wrote, who's an independent journalist, reacted to this story of Maxwell in this DOJ interview, saying that Trump did nothing harmful in front of her, apparently. Quote, here's the quid. Maxwell swears Trump did nothing wrong. Then Trump waived her sex offender status and moved her to Club Fed without notifying the victims. Shocked, I tell you. Here's one from Midas Touch. Wild how MAGA sees a deep state conspiracy in literally everything, but when the government buries evidence tying Trump to Epstein and starts bribing Epstein's co-conspirator, they suddenly go blind after that. Let's be clear, anyone helping cover for Trump is complicit in a cover-up for child sex traffickers. And the last one I want to show you is from Ron Filipowski in response to the news as well. What a surprise, he says. She interviews with Trump's former criminal defense lawyer who moved her to a cushy Club Fed right after it was over. And it just so happens she did not say anything bad about the person who is in complete control of her life right now. Amazing. And it is. The coincidence is just too good to be true. Think about how brazen this is. It's happening right in front of our eyes. And MAGA, who, as Midas Touch correctly pointed out, sees a deep state conspiracy in everything, they'll be quiet about this. They'll be silent. Just as another tidbit here, if this were the Biden administration and they were behaving in the exact same way, they might do another January 6th with how crazy they'd be. But MAGA sees nothing wrong with this. But we, anybody that's rational, anybody that has two eyes, sees something wrong with this. Maxwell, in this interview with Donald Trump's defense attorney and the number 2 at the DOJ, says, allegedly, that Trump did nothing wrong in front of her. Nothing. Over the many years that him and Epstein were friends and him and Maxwell were friends. Nothing wrong in front of her. And then, magically, her sex offender status is waived and she's moved to a prison where she gets to do yoga. If that's not corruption, if that's not a quid pro quo, then I don't know what is. And might I add, for anybody that might be a little bit skeptical, the Trump administration has still not told us why Maxwell was moved to this camp. They will not answer questions about it. They just did it in the middle of the day, randomly, and didn't answer as to why they did it, why her sex offender status was waived. They just sent her to this camp and said, happy days. That's it. So we are witnessing a cover-up right now in front of our very eyes. I think that's clear as day. In my view, I just think it's so obvious. But look, I will leave the video there. I just had to break down this story for you. It's so crazy. But we will leave it all there. Thank you so much for watching. I very much appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video, comment. Let me know what you think about this and if you think there's a cover-up going on right now. And as I always say, I greatly appreciate you, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day.